When you chat with people across the board, sometimes you get varying opinions. You get their ideas about, say, something like Game Pass. And I think I've missed something for the longest time. Now, you may have seen it, but again, indulge me, please, where I go through a lot of what PlayStation had in its major industry shifts and threats that leaked with Insomniac's data, unfortunately. This was published by Jess Corden, and there were other documents that were out there. And this thing continues to kind of like stick in my mind, where PlayStation says that Microsoft can supply multi-game, subscription 50%, console games 50%, PC 60%. And then beneath that, they claim that Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Now, when I look at this, I'm saying to myself, okay, how is Xbox approaching its marketing for its games? Because there's always talk about Xbox marketing, blah, blah, blah. People don't really realize that a marketing budget also eats into your cost basis, but whatever. I realize that the way they've been advertising their games for the longest time is they'll put Xbox Series X and, PC, but then Game Pass will probably maybe come afterwards. But now they're putting Game Pass in the forefront. Or maybe they've started this a while ago and I'm just noticing it now because I've been looking at the older reveals and the older ads. And if you look at Expedition 33, this is not an Xbox first-party game. It's a third-party game with the partnership with Xbox to bring the game on Game Pass. You can already see that Game Pass is at the forefront. If you look at the Ninja Gaiden reveal as well, too, you look at the Doom reveal, you'll see Game Pass up front, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, and then PS5, which I think is actually very interesting that they consider Game Pass as another piece of their ecosystem, like a subculture in its own right. And I think this is probably where PlayStation was understanding the threat from, that they do not need a physical console for you to be able to get their games, just like with subscription services where they actually meet you where you are, your phone, your smart TV, your tablet, your devices that you watch these particular, things on, your Apple TV, Google Chromecast, whatever the heck. They can get you to be in their ecosystem very easily. Game Pass, I think, has taken that approach. Now, this is not news, but what is the impact on the gaming industry? I think it ties into a data set that Matt Piscatella has been pointing out for a while now, where he went back and talked about the December video game hardware spending dropped 29% versus the year average to $1.1 billion. Spending on PlayStation 5 hardware fell 18% when compared to December 2023, with Xbox Series S and X each declining by 38%. Annual spending on video game hardware finished 25% lower than 2023 at $4.9 billion. He then cites it later on and says, no question video game hardware had a rough one, but it was expected with Switch being in the market for so long that both PS5 and Xbox passed their selling peaks. Total 2024 hardware spending of $4.9 billion is still significantly higher than $3.9 billion seen in 2019. So through each console's first 50 months in the US, live to date ending December 2024, for Xbox and PS5 lifetime unit sales are 7% ahead of PS4's pace, while Xbox Series trails Xbox One by 18%. Through 38 months in the US through December 2023, PS5 led PS4 by 6%, while Xbox Series trailed Xbox One by 13%. So the hardware market is actually going through a very rough patch, regardless of what platform you're on. In fact, Game Pass now brings games from this subscription service to the old guys. The Xbox One is still a breathing piece of this ecosystem. So sure, you may not be able to access these games on the physical console that is your Xbox One console, but if you have Game Pass, you have access to a lot of these games. And this is where I think the strategy really, in my mind, makes a lot of sense. And seeing as they're pushing it front and center, the accessibility to come into their ecosystem is definitely a win for them. Should they be able to provide value consistently? That's the caveat. Should they be able to provide value consistently? Not only that, the Series S is also probably one of those kind of consoles that really gets the job done in terms of a price aspect. If you should decide that you want to enter the Xbox ecosystem via another method that is not the traditional console, they have game for you. If you decide you want to come in through mobile, they're getting everything ready and strategized from the cloud for you. If you want to come in through PC, they have it already set for you. And if you want to go in with the traditional series consoles, they have a pipeline for you. If you want to use other devices, they have a pipeline for you. This is where the entire saying of this is an Xbox now starts to make a whole lot more sense than a lot of the detractors had made it sound. Because in their minds, they can only see from the perspective of the box, of which even the box is taking a beating. Sure, the PS5 is basically selling and going ahead. However, many of the PS5 owners are more than likely coming from the PS4. While at the same time, PlayStation is selling hardware, is doing all these hardware sales, but gamers are looking at the value. I think the value here basically undercuts the entire notion of what the console sale looks like. Because the PC market is also growing. Who's going to PC? Do y'all remember that report that was put out a few weeks ago where they talked about how the PC market had basically outclassed the console market in terms of growth? Who are the people going to PC? If the market is basically not growing and is only basically expanding or shrinking, then it basically almost puts it in perspective where these console gamers, some of them are PC hopping. And this reality is something that Xbox already is set to deal with. Handheld market, Xbox is ready. PC market, Xbox is ready. Console market, Xbox is ready. And PlayStation is the one that knows that their pillars are dated and behind the competition, and they're the ones that really need to make moves, because here we now have more data than we can do anything with to indicate that the market is in a strange place. And believe you me, Nintendo is fine for now. And I continue to say that, but I still also want to say that they're not immune from what the market pressures may bring down the road. So this marketing scheme that Xbox has taken on, to me, I am very well, in my opinion anyways, I'm very well confident that they now have at their grasp the reality that they want to create for themselves, which is not to depend on the box alone. The box alone has not been a working strategy for them this generation. Other means are now the way that they should go. And yes, even the PlayStation fans are now saying things like MBG said just, after the showcase in this little clip here, that he thinks he might subscribe to Game Pass. I know. These were the detractors, and you don't need their validation, but hear them say the words right out of their mouths.
I'm thinking about subbing the Game Pass, dude.
Peace out.